City Council Committee on Finance will please come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilors Kadim? Dion?
Here.
Kilby?
Here.
La Liberty? Pelletier? Pereira?
Here.
Reposo?
Here.
Washington?
Here.
President Kamara?
Here. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit this meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. There are a number of people that signed up to speak for citizen input time. First, we have Kevin Andrade, subject matter, Quikasham Trail homeless issue. Come down,
Come on
please,
down
to the
here.
microphone. You can have a seat. You have 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Andrade.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Again, my name is Cameron Andrade. I live at 593 Rodman Street. I'm sitting here before you because I've been a resident of this city for almost 20 years. The issue in front of the Quikasham Trail has gotten to the point where it's unbelievable at this point. I've got patrons, my family owns Rosario's Diner. We have patrons that are actually scared to come to our restaurant now. They've been harassed, they've been chased, going back to their vehicles. There's limited parking there, if anybody knows Rodman Street. It's getting aggressive with the I guess, the tenants of the Quikasham Trail now, the homeless. I've been in contact with the police department. We've had calls, and I know that they're doing what best that they can, but they need your help, because at this point, it's getting out of control. They're getting to be very aggressive. My sister's been assaulted. My mother has been chased back into her building. I find them on my doorstep. I find them in front of our building. They're aggressive toward normal people. There's other residents here that have joined. It is getting to the point where it's going to be difficult. So I need your help, whether it be an ordinance in the park from dusk till dawn to move them away from there. Anything that you guys can do to help, because at this point, it's at a precipice. We can't continue to do this. People are, we pay taxes, we work, we have a business that's thrived for 20 years. Now we're losing that business because of the simple fact that we have homeless coming into our building, being aggressive with our staff. We've given our staff pepper spray at this point. It's just out of control. My daughter her car was surrounded by 3 of them, not 3 days ago. Again, make a phone call to the police department, get it. They have other things to do right now. There's other, more pressing matters in the city, but it's getting to the point where whether a resident be around there trying to protect their own, or a client or a customer, is getting to be impossible. I don't want to have to hire a detail to serve breakfast. We don't even serve alcohol. So that's the point it's at. Again, we've done everything we've asked. The police department asked to put no trespassing, no panhandling. We've asked them nicely. We have customers that sit outside. They're scared to sit outside now. They're scared to sit in their cars. This is getting out of control. I had one come across the street to me and tell me that, congratulations, this is no longer yours, this is ours, because you guys can't do anything. And that is coming from a homeless person. I get you guys are trying to help them by sending over Health First to take care of their wounds. Somebody goes there daily to feed them. All that's doing is like a stray cat outside of a door. You keep feeding it, you keep giving them those options, they're not gonna go anywhere. I'm not heartless. I understand they have a sickness or an illness. But again, I'm a patron that pays taxes like everybody else.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree.
Next, we have John Sylvia,
You're right.
subject matter, bag ordinance.
Hello. I've watched a couple of the ordinance meetings about the trash ordinance, and I just want to say I'm not anti-environment. I've been a part of a nonprofit for over 10 years that has tried to improve the aesthetics of Fall River. What I'm concerned about is that in this day and age now, we do things to make us feel good. And when something's done, and it doesn't work, we can't revert back. So there are a few things I wanted to bring up with this. If you get rid of the trash bags, or these bags in the store, it's been proven in other communities that it affects people that are elderly and the low income because a lot of them don't have cars. So them walking with a paper bag, it just messes it all up. So what's happening now, Stop and Shop now has paper bags, and they charge you 10 cents for it. So you have Aldi, you have Price Right, they all charge people for bags. What I don't want to see is we do something, again, to make people feel good, and then it hurts people. So those trash bags, I mean, those bags from Shaw's are used for dog waste, and they're used for people for the bathrooms, the waste baskets there. And what has been proven is that it really doesn't slow down the trash bags. People now buy these little trash bags for their dog. So what are we trying to do? Are we trying to decrease this? So what I would ask, and I know this thing has been out there since 2019, what I would ask is go look at their surrounding communities, and I don't mean Dartmouth and Somerset, I mean New Bedford, Brockton, Taunton, see what they're doing. Because I've seen this happen before on the news that people don't know what's going on, and then it happens, and then they're walking with these these bags that are wet, and it's just a big disaster. So it's kind of saving you all time to go out there and see what does this look like? Because I watched the ordinance meeting, and there's maybe one person in the audience. One suggestion would be the city website, put a question out there. Say, hey, are you in a favor of this? Just to kind of see what the atmosphere is with that. So with that, I just wish before we go through with this and put it in, just let's do some research to see it fits to what we want to do here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Mr. President, can I just say something?
Yes, Council seat 6, Council Vice
I
President.
just want to add to it, Mr. Sylvia, I did receive a call from a couple of people, but one of the calls that I received was that in several communities, when they put in a bag ordinance, that a lot of the banks, other stores, they buy the disposable bags and give them to people. It's a way of advertising their own company and also a way of helping people by giving them the disposable bags, which is a good thing. But I agree with you say, because I've had calls about the small bags being used for other things. And the concerning thing is that if you get meat at a deli, that plastic is okay. You know, if you go to the dry cleaners and it comes in a plastic bag, that's okay. So what are we doing? Just, plastic bags at grocery stores? I mean, so, yeah, I've learned a lot about it. With that, I yield. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Councilman. Next, we have Sherry Ann Taylor, subject matter President, Avenue Construction.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening.
Members of the council. My name is Sherry Ann Tello. I am a resident of President Avenue. I came before you 2 weeks ago on September 12th, expressing my grave concerns about the construction project and the damages that my neighbors and I have incurred. I was told that a special meeting would be held and that someone would be in touch with me. 2 weeks later, I've not heard from anyone. I would like us to plan a date and time today so that I can properly notify my neighbors that would wish to attend this meeting. President Avenue is still not complete. I bring more photo evidence of what I'm about to speak of right now. On Friday morning, I heard jackhammering right outside as I'm working. And I thought, oh great, the end's in sight, somebody's here, they're doing something. And then all of a sudden, the construction work went quiet. I went outside to look and saw that manhole covers again had been dug up around and the pipes are exposed. And this wasn't just in front of my house, it's all the way down President Avenue. Cones and barrels were put up on top of these holes and no one was around. Started to look, it's 2:30 now. Okay, school's gonna get out in about 15 minutes, Spencer Borden's right there. And I'm seeing the size of these holes and it was an absolute danger. I went out to get my mail and checked again and looked around to see if there's anybody there. No construction workers in sight, and a truck comes and hits the barrel and knocks the barrel onto the sidewalk. Now this hole is exposed and it's about this deep. If a car had driven into that hole, they would have popped a tire, most definitely, probably broken an axle, somebody would have been hurt. Called the mayor's office, luckily Ann called me back within a few minutes, and she asked me if there was any construction workers around. Like, I'm saying, somebody has to get here now, someone is going to be hurt. I could picture a car breaking their axle and somebody rolling that car into my living room. Who would be the first responder on a scene if somebody got hurt on President Avenue? It would be me, because I would go out to help. I didn't want to see that happen. I said, Ann, it's going to rain. If these things are not filled in, this is gonna be a big puddle, somebody's not gonna see these holes, someone's gonna get hurt. I was told, oh, it's not gonna rain much. We all know what happened. It rained for 4 days straight right now. But luckily, I reached out to Vice President Pereira. She did make some phone calls. Somebody came with a cement truck and filled these holes in. Now, again, I've talked about this one pipe in front of my house that's been hit repeatedly during this construction. I have pictures today to show now, once they excavated around that pipe, the pipe is bent. It goes directly to a fire hydrant. I'm really hoping that pipe works someday if anyone near me needs that fire hydrant. Like, that water is going to come out, we don't even know. And again, here we are. So yesterday I had a flyer in my mailbox saying that the milling work would begin on the 28th. Great, so excited. There'll be further road closures. Weather permitting, paving will begin on Saturday, the 30th, starting at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. we're going to Pavey Road. I understand that's a heavily transited street during the school season. During the week would be a nightmare. I fully understand that. This project should have been done before the beginning of school. So I'm disappointed that no one's reached out to me in the past 2 weeks. Again, my ask tonight is to commit to a meeting date and time, as we had discussed on September 12th. We need to have a comprehensive conversation about the damage to our homes and what is the plan for repair.
Thank you so much. Council C2, Council Dion?
Public Works.
Yes, I'm the chair of the committee that will be hearing your issue. Your citizen input did not fall on deaf ears. We have been trying diligently to schedule that meeting. There's multiple subcommittee meetings that are being scheduled all at the same time. We have people at work full-time, we have people who are ill. Logistically, there's a lot of people involved that have to show up to the meeting. We do have it scheduled. It's scheduled for October 16th at 4 p.m. You haven't been notified yet just because it was still far out. So you will be getting the notification, but yes, that meeting has been scheduled. We did not forget about you.
Great, thank you, much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kelly Buchanan, subject matter, illegal encampments. And we will officially notify you about that meeting as well.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to follow up on the progress concerning my grievance regarding the illegal encampments within our city limits, specifically the encampment located just below Kennedy Park. Please advise on all the status reports, improvements, and abatement progress where warranted. In addition, I am also available to help this quorum with assistance if requested by this council by providing additional documentation as needed concerning the illegal encampment's growing population, swelling, inhumane conditions, sewage sludge deposits, and increased rat harbor issues. Thank you again for your consideration and attention to this matter, and I'm just gonna yield the rest of my time back to you guys. I know it's on the forum tonight, so I'm hoping to get some answers on the progress on what we're doing.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Next, we have Brandy Pasquale, subject matter, homeless. No, that's quite all right. Not a problem. She spoke earlier, she signed up for citizens input time, and she wanted to just touch base on what the gentleman from Rodman Street was talking about, same type of issues with the homeless and the neighborhood, and, you know, just bring that to our attention. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Council seat 6, Council Vice President.
we have
Perez.
had enough people come before this council talking about these encampments. I mean, the last time we discussed the panhandlers and homeless population, and they were talking about getting free IDs, coming in, getting a free birth certificate to get things. But our law-abiding taxpayers or our people in the city who are having financial difficulties can't come to City Hall and get a free birth certificate. This has to be addressed with administration. So it is not just something the council can do. We have the ordinance on panhandling in the ordinance committee, but we don't have anything about encampments in the ordinance committee. So, I think that we as a council should address the mayor. We want the mayor and city administrator is here tonight to come up with a plan. If people are trespassing in the park, they're trespassing. They need to be arrested. They're trespassing. I'm sorry, but something's got to give.
Maybe we should file a resolution, Council, and address it that way.
Well, I'll file a resolution that the mayor needs to sit with members, put a few members of the council on a committee, come up with a plan. My heart breaks for people that are homeless. But gosh, we know the services that we're providing people to help them. And if they don't want the help, they can't be obstructing a beautiful path that we built for people to get outdoor activity. They can't be infringing upon a residence where people all pay their taxes, take pride in their property. They certainly can't be obstructing a business. It's not fair, just not
I think we all
fair.
agree, Councilor.
I'll put in a resolution when we break
No problem.
to have a meeting with the mayor. Thank you. With that, I yield.
Item number 2, law and order regards the Fall River School Department proposal for Massachusetts School Building Authority for the Robert Maderis Resiliency Preparatory Academy renovation project, referred on 9/12/23. I do want to say at this time, I had spoken to spoken to Council Pelletier, and he had a rough go last couple of days. He was in the hospital. I'm not sure if he's still there, or if he was released, so he's not here tonight. And Council Liberty had mentioned earlier that this was one of the days that she could not make it. I think it was a few months back when she tried to get the meeting changed, and I guess the council didn't support that change. But this was a meeting that she could not attend. She had a prior engagement. Just want to let
Thank
people
you.
know why they're not here.
Good evening, councilors.
Good evening, Mr. Pacheco.
You have a request before you from the school department through the mayor to fund an accelerated repair project that has been approved by MSBA. It is the last project that Fall River will receive from this program. It's currently been shut down, basically because MSBA is trying to fund a whole bunch of projects that are coming in well over budget. So we were lucky enough to get in under the wire. This is an $8.1 million ask, of which 20% is the city's portion of that particular project. On an average, ARP projects, accelerated repair projects, stay within that guideline of funding, unlike core projects where there are a lot of ineligible costs. Most of the ARP projects stay within the eligibility range on the items that we're asking for. This is a window and door replacement at 290 Rock Street, which is the Robert L. Maderis Resiliency Prep Academy, and it's the last piece, with the exception of some masonry work, to close that building in tight. We've done all the envelope work. Building has a new roof, an MSBA project. It has new boilers, another MSBA project that the city funded for $6.1 million. And this is the final piece of what MSBA would fund for a project like this. The council clerk passed out a spreadsheet that is big enough to read. The other one was kind of tiny print. But it basically lays out what is covered, what is eligible, what is ineligible, and then this has soft and hard costs, meaning the construction costs are in here, also architectural, owner's project manager costs, and a certain amount of contingency is built into the project to cover unforeseen items. I would also ask, and again, it's not in the request, but I do believe that there were residual funds left from the last RPA project. I don't know the exact amount, it's about 300,000. I would ask that, at another request, to the council, if we could, use those as a contingency for this project, just in case we had extras. That money is already borrowed, and it was, left unspent from, the last project.
Council in seat 6, Council Pereira, your question?
Mr. Pacheco, the only question I have, I know this is for windows, doors, and et cetera, to wrap up this building. But a question I have, I didn't see anything in here about Horace Mann. I'm just wondering where the Horace Mann, what that's looking like in the auditorium.
So, obviously, they're protected now with the brand-new roof.
Right.
And all the work that we did on the original RPA, our ARP project that we did, about 2 years ago. We do have, a project that we're gonna digitize some of those, because we wanna bring, some of that art in a digitized form to the high school.
Okay.
And maybe to other schools. So that's where we stand right now. But the goal, the school department's goal is to do a feasibility study at some point. I'm not sure if it's going to be coming up on an agenda item in the near future, but to do a feasibility study on the RPA building so that we can see what we need to do and how we can utilize more of that building. The building is the only swing space we have left in the district, of a sizable classroom space so that we, if we needed to, if we had an emergency in a school, we could move students in. But it's not in shape yet for that to happen. So the RPA has a lot of promise. We've done quite a bit of work along with the city, including this would be about $14 million of work that's been done in the last 5 years. And the intention is to do work, we've been refinishing floors, a lot of painting work, stairwells, ceiling, lighting. But there is a lot of work left to do in that building. But it is the intent of the school department to continue to rehab that building, possibly get that auditorium to a point, and the building to a point where we could have public events there, and showcase the murals.
Good. No, they do have very large classrooms. When I got out of college with my teaching degree, I taught there for a bit, and although one of the teachers thought I was a student because I was very young, and I love the flooring there. They have beautiful hardwood floor. You can't put those in again, so nice to hear we're saving as much of the building as we can. Thank you, Mr. Pacheco.
You,
I yield, Mr. President.
Council seat 2,
Good evening.
Good evening.
I recognize that we need to maintain our buildings. I recognize that we need to repair our buildings, but I have a little bit of an issue with the process this time. The superintendent signed off February 8th, the mayor signed off June 22nd, the project director signed off June 23rd. It was presented to the MSBA on the 30th, and the council didn't get it till September 12th, and now here we are at the 26th. I feel like, I mean, it's been presented, I assume it's been accepted, and it, almost like it was just assumed it's all gonna be fine, and everybody's gonna say yes, and I just have an issue with the process.
So we came here for the SOI because we need the signatures. So when we presented the SOI to MSBA, we have that process that we have to do. The school committee signed off on it. And then the second part of that is the feasibility side, where the school department paid for the I want to say about $120,000 worth of expenses to have them do the feasibility side. And then it went to a full vote of the school committee to actually present it here. And we have a certain amount of days to get it back to MSBA with an approval from this body and the special vote language. So there is vote language that has to go along with this in the process. We followed what MSBA asked us to do in order to get to this point. I didn't mean that, I hope there was no slight or if there was, it was never meant to be to this body. The school department cannot operate without this body in any way, shape, or form, and that's well-known. Whether we were funding a project or not, we still need the support of this committee. As you know, all of these projects have to be fully funded, and then the reimbursements come between 15 and 45 days later, and keep, throughout the project, those funds keep flowing back to the city. So most of the time, the projects don't have to be, the borrowing doesn't have to be fully. You have to approve the borrowing as a whole, 8.1, but we normally wouldn't get to that point, especially on an ARP project, because the money would flow back into the city relatively quickly. It's not like the old days when we would borrow and wait a couple of years for an audit. So this money flows back to the city relatively quickly. And it is 20 cents on the dollar. As I said, it's about between 1.4 and 1.6 million dollars is the end cost to the city for this project.
Okay, thank you. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Council C1, Council Kadim.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I guess just to echo my colleague in C2's line of questioning, and I fully understand the MSBA, how they have that timeline for the statement of interest, which would require the school committee and then the executive branch to sign off.
Yes.
Can we just, I guess, in the future, given the fact that we're essentially identifying that we are interested in various projects, whether or not we proceed, I mean, there's a feasibility process for the SOI and things of that nature, but at that point, if we can just get notification, so it just doesn't feel like at that point it's a rubber stamp after the feasibility goes through, that we know potentially which projects are in the pipeline with MSBA, because I think that would make it a little bit easier for us to kind of get behind and feel like it's just not rubber stamping moving forward.
Sure.
So I think you just answered the question, because I was a little confused. So the language that we have here, the loan order, so is the loan order just generic in the sense that it's got the 80% because that's the cap from the MSBA, but
Right.
we're only going to get a 20% reimbursement?
So the 80% is the cap of we couldn't get more reimbursement than that.
Right, but
And the
so for this-
20% is assumed the city's portion.
Oh, the 20% is our portion.
Is up, yeah,
Okay,
80%.
so it is an 80% reimbursement?
It is,
Okay, so
yes.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Okay, so it's an 80% reimbursement, 20% is on?
20%,
Okay.
yes.
So in terms of the 8.1, the budget that we have in front of us, what's that reflect then?
So the budget that you have, if you look at the last page, it includes all the hard costs and soft costs. So if you look at the bottom, total facilities grant,
Yep.
total project budget 8.101, the difference is the city's portion. The very last line on the authorization.
Again, so I was just looking, if I look at the first one, you've got construction budget, oh, it's not a subtotal, it's just a subtotal for
Exactly.
the construction budget,
Yes.
then you've got the architects,
Right.
engineer, okay.
Yes, and the
I was-
contingency.
I was
is on-
trying, okay. I
Yeah,
was
the
just trying
contingency is also
to,
on that bottom.
right. I was just trying to reconcile the difference between the 6.8, but that's just construction costs, not all
Yes.
the additional costs.
Exactly.
Okay. With that, I yield, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President.
Thank you. Council C3, Council Kilby.
Yeah, just for my own information to the public. Why, maybe you already answered the question, we're getting 80% on this one. Why substantially more reimbursement from the state than the other schools
So-
we've done recently?
The scope of the work is a lot different than, for instance, building a high school. So the Durfee reimbursement was about 63% because there were so many ineligible costs. Swimming pool, the amount of square footage that's reimbursed from MSBA as opposed to the actual cost. Durfee was around $439 a square
The
foot.
campus, the exterior, you know.
The exterior campus price on the square footage of how much they will pay for on all of site work. So both of those items start chipping away at your percentage. Durfee is an 80-20 school to start off with, but when you finish with all of those different ineligibles, it brought it down to that 63% coming from MSBA and the remainder coming to the city for the tax roll.
Okay, I thought maybe it was because it's a resiliency program, there'd be a higher reimbursement, but you explained it.
And it's also a kind of, the ARP program is very specific in what we're doing. So we're touching windows and doors. They're not touching anything else. There will be some items that are unforeseen. You pull out a window, there may be some some masonry work that needs correcting. There may be some vents that are connected to that window that would need, repair. But by and large, most of the ARP programs are very specific in nature, on purpose, so that it will stay within those guidelines.
Yeah, I never really understood why the entire project was, the rationale, why the entire project's not reimbursable, excluding, the outdoors, and because it's part of the educational experience. But I appreciate your explanation, and thank you for clarifying that for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Chico. Entertain a motion to,
Motion to refer to full council?
for full council for action.
Second?
Motion is made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 3, Bank Street Armory Proposal Review and Recommendations, tabled 8/15/23. I need a
Motion to lift it from the table?
motion to lift from the table has been made
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Motion
opposed?
refer to council.
Council,
Second?
motion refer to full council has been made and seconded. We, before we refer, we're gonna, Council Pelletier, who's now, has a letter he'd like us to read. Madam Clerk, will you please read Council Pelletier's letter?
Dear Council President Kamara and honorable city councilors, City Council is responsible for acting in the best interest of the residents and business owners of Fall River, even when we may personally disagree with the decision. I'm writing to you to emphasize that the acceptance of the Bank Street Armory proposal would benefit the city of Fall River. Excuse me. After $400,000 was invested by the city for remodeling, the location has been unoccupied and unused for over 8 years. There have been multiple discussions regarding a potential investment of over $6 million to repair this site for recreational use, even though housing and housing costs are the main concern of our residents. We need to act on the disrepair and vacancy by embracing this redevelopment opportunity. It is our responsibility to avoid another unused eyesore in the city. The former police station is a reflection of what the Bank Street Armory's future may be with no action. Alan Macumber of Main Street Projects is the only bidder on the project, and his team of architects are experienced in the redevelopment of vacant infrastructure in this city. They have remodeled the Bradford Durfee Textile School and have future plans for post-office garage structure nearby the Bank Street Armory. Mr. Macumber has invested time, investment, and knowledge into this proposal and understands the need for housing development. 20% of this proposed development would provide low-income housing units. In addition, this property would become taxable and benefit the city's tax rolls. Fall River needs redevelopment. Fall River needs housing. Fall River needs investment. While the Bank Street Armory's past holds a remarkable legacy, the only way to allow this location to survive and grow is for this proposal to move forward. I respectfully ask that my colleagues take action on this item tonight and vote. The approval of this project is in the best interest of those who rely on us to make the right decision. Sincerely, Councilor Leo Pelletier.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Motion has been made to full council and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, we have a transfer and appropriation. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 44, Section 32 of the Massachusetts General Laws, I recommend the following appropriation to your honorable body, that the sum of $49,999 be and the same is hereby appropriated to the Health and Human Service Department expenses transferred from opioid settlement receipts stabilization fund.
Motion full council?
Second.
Motion for the full council has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion adjourn finance?
We have one more item, one more, Councilor. Attached, please find a request from the Community Preservation Committee to appropriate emergency funding for the Fall River Historic Society electrical work. Council C2, Council Dion.
Yes, in full disclosure, I recently became a member of the Historical Society. Therefore, I placed a call to the Ethics Commission in Boston, and as a result, I will be recusing myself from the conversation and the vote.
Thank you, Counsel. Counsel seat 7, Counsel Pozo.
I have to join Council Dion in the same thing. I joined the Historical Society myself way before this took place, so I'll have to do the same.
You got it, Counsel.
Motion
I got, I just got a question. Is it Historical Society that we're talking about?
Historical
Preservation Society?
Society's electrical work, and the amount, they need electrical work in Historical Society.
Yeah, they're requesting building, so she's on the committee for that.
No, I guess I
Community Preservation
recognize that,
Committee.
so everybody that donates $25 to become a member is gonna abstain? Listen, I donate too, I just don't know
I
that I need
donate
to
too,
abstain, I
Counsel, I
just
attend that for
donate
me.
money
I
because,
get it.
all right,
I
I just
don't
wanna
think
make sure
it's-
that's not
Become a
the
member.
precedent, because
You
we're
didn't
just,
become a member.
we're running a little,
I know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Slim Pickens?
Yeah, no, I just wanna clarify that.
I get it, Counsel.
I wanna put it out there that I have donated and I am a member of the, historical,
And you support them,
and I support them, that's,
as we all do.
all right.
Attached, please find requests from the Community Preservation Committee to appropriate emergency funding for the Fall River Historical Society's electrical work in the amount of $236,374.29. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion to refer to full body. It's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to adjourn
Motion to
finance.
adjourn,
Second?
finance.
To adjourn finance is made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? City Council Finance is now adjourned. Regular City Council meeting will begin at 7 o'clock. Regular City Council meeting will please come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilors Kadim,
Here.
Dion,
Here.
Kilby,
Here.
La Liberty, Pelletier, Pereira,
Here.
Reposo.
Here.
Washington. Here. President Kamara.
Here. Will everyone in the council chamber please rise for a moment of silent prayer? Please remain standing for salute to the flag. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit this meeting to any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and not deemed acknowledged and permissible. Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, the first item before you is the mayor's request for confirmation of the appointment of Cedric Souza as the city auditor.
Motion to confirm.
Motion to confirm has been made and seconded. We'll have this
Second.
confirmation first.
What is it?
Motion to confirm has been made and seconded.
Yes.
Do you want a roll call or roll call?
On the confirmation, Councilors Kadim,
Yes.
Dion,
Yes.
Kilby,
Yes.
La Liberty, Pelletier, Pereira,
Yes.
Reposo.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
President Kamara.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations, Seth. Entertain a motion to take the meeting out of order. Counselor Kilby has some citations he'd like to present.
Motion so made.
Motion has been made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Counselor Kilby?
Thank you, Mr. President.
For many of us in the community, of course, on the council, we know we suffered a fire loss on Brightman Street. And that's the motivation for these 3 citations. I mean, I could put 50, 60, 100 citations in for everyone who was involved in fighting that fire. But again, the motivation was simply because a homeowner who has a house 7 feet behind or on the side of where the fire occurred suffered little or no damage. I believe it was just water damage. So after thinking it over, I thought it'd be very fitting to, of course, to acknowledge the head of our fire department, our chief, the deputy chief who was in command of that area during the fire, Mr. Flannery, and obviously the president, the rank and file of our fire department, Mr. Burns. So I would ask you to come down, please.
Counselor Kilby?
Yes.
Can I just add that the fire department knows all of the vacant buildings that we have in Fall River, I learned, and they already have strategized, if any one of those buildings go up in smoke, what was the quickest way, how they would, attack that fire. And I think that is showing the proactiveness of our fire department, so kudos to the chief and his men and women.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anyway, had conversations I had with these 3 gentlemen over the, subsequent to the fire. The chief, fire chief was kind enough to put in an executive order. So, at first I was wondering, an executive order, what does that mean? An order from the chief. That means you're asking someone to do something, I would assume, but I look at it as a recognition of everyone who battled that blaze that day. And obviously, I had to choose someone to be here, Mr. Flannery, Mr. Burns, and I just thought it was very fitting that the chief, yourself, like I said, was in command of the fire, and your men did an awesome job. So I asked the chief to please read the order. Instead of me going on long-winded here, the order that he wrote, I would really like him to read that tonight, because it just summarizes how regional, with the cooperation of other departments, potentially, halted a potentially neighborhood event. There's no doubt about it in a tight area like that. So, Chief, would you like to sit down?
I guess I could stand up. Okay, I'm taking this opportunity to praise the efforts of all the on-duty and recall firefighters, officers, and chief officers, mutual aid communities that sent apparatus and manpower in fighting the good fight, thereby saving a neighborhood. I thank you all for your persistence and perseverance. This praise is not just from this office, but also from neighborhood residents, the local legislative contingent, and the mayor's office. Though losing a building is never an intended result, it took a Herculean effort to stop this fire from advancing to exposed buildings in a densely populated neighborhood with limited access to the expansive fire building. As previously mentioned, the Fall River Fire Department's efforts were supported with on-scene mutual aid by Swansea and Somerset Fire Departments, as well as Tiverton, Westport, and Freetown Fire Departments, who responded to numerous fire and EMS-related calls during the firefighting operations. The FRFD efforts would not have been or would have been more challenging and not as successful without the assistance and support of the Fall River Fire Dispatchers, Fall River Special Services, Fall River Police Department, Fall River EMS, Fall River Building Department, and the Red Cross. It was reported to investigators that there may have been a delay in reporting the fire, as much as 1.5 hours, as a passerby noted a smell of smoke in the area at approximately 1500, but saw no smoke or fire coming from the building. There was a heavy body of fire inside the building upon arrival. The initial crews attempted an interior attack, but with a vacant, questionable structure and heavy body of fire, the incident commander, District Chief Scott Flannery decided on a defensive attack to keep the fire from involving the exposed structures, one of which was 7 feet from the fire building. There was a recall of personnel immediately upon notification of a third alarm. 12 members answered this call and responded forthwith, staffed 2 reserve engine companies, and responded to the scene. At the height of the fire, all 10 Fall River Fire fighting apparatus, frontline apparatus, and 2 reserve companies were operating at this incident, either hooked up to a hydrant, feeding elevated waterways, supplying hand lines, or operating elevated master streams. Other recalled members maintained fire watch overnight. EMS, led by Lieutenant Naruda, set up triage, treated and transporting a Fall River Fire Department member. Special Services personnel, led by Captain Chris Karen, set up lighting, rehab, and arranged shelter for displaced victims. Mechanic Furtado addressed apparatus issues and fueled vehicles. For a police department, and again, I'm not sure who the sergeant was, but I know Officer Riley was there, assisted with scene security and moving vehicles for apparatus placement, while fire alarm monitored and supported the operation with unmatched professionalism. Bravo Zulu to the personnel entities noted above for your efforts in support of this incident and firefighting effort. Thank you all for your dedication to your respective departments and the citizens of Fall River. Bravo Zulu means good job at the Marine Corps and the Navy. Sorry.
Just an honor to be here with you, certainly to represent the Fall River firefighters. It is fantastic to be honored here by you guys today, in recognition of the dangers that we face on a daily basis. And we just appreciate being recognized, and it's, I'm grateful to represent the members, and they're all thankful for this. So, thank you.
I just want to say it was a group effort. Everybody did an outstanding job. Fall River Fire, the police were awesome. They helped us evacuate the buildings. And everybody there, the EMS, the EMA, all volunteers showed up and gave us water and set up their shelters. It was a group effort from mutual aid, and it worked out very well because everybody worked well together.
I initially told Councilor Kirby I wasn't accepting an award because it is a group effort. And so he said, well, accept it on behalf of everybody you mentioned in your paper. So that's what I'm doing to the police department, to the special services, the dispatchers. I'll accept it on their behalf.
You did say that, and so did Mr. Flannery, so did Mr. Burns. So you're not, it's amazing what a proud group we have and how professional of a group we have. So the site, but I'll say this, it's important for the community to know. That's the reason for these citations. It's important for the people watching this to see how important it is and how valuable the fire department is. So the language is the same from my friend Council President Camara and myself, and obviously from the entire committee, even those who can't be here, for exemplary actions to protect both the lives and properties of the residents and business owners of a densely populated area in response to the September 19, 2023 fire. Mr. St. Pierre, that's for you. Chief Flannery, that's for you. And Jason, that's for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. While we're on, entertain a motion to adopt the citations.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Citations are adopted. Madam Clerk?
The next item is the mayor's communication in a financial order that the sum of $49,999 be and the same is hereby transferred to the Health and Human Services Department expenses from the opioid settlement receipts stabilization fund.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is the mayor's communication in an order appropriating $236,374.29 from Community Preservation Act undesignated fund for CPA Historic Resources Preservation Projects.
Motion to adopt.
Motion,
Second.
motion to adopt has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Two abstentions. Council seat 2, Council seat 7. Madam Clerk?
Have a communication from the mayor and an order amending the Fall River Waterfront Urban Renewal Plan to allow inclusion of lots O22-9 and O23-4 as properties for acquisition, disposition, and redevelopment.
Motion to adopt.
Motion referred to Committee on Finance.
Second?
Motion referred has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5 is a mayor's communication and a request to establish an ordinance creating the position of a finance management and compliance analyst to the Financial Services Department.
Motion to refer to the Committee on Ordinances.
Motion for
Ordinance and
Committee on Legislation has been made and
Second.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Committee on Finance, at a meeting held on September 12th, voted unanimously to recommend the accompanying resolution be granted leave to withdraw with Councilors Pelletier and Washington absent and not voting. This resolution was to discuss strategies to decrease homeless encampments within the city.
Motion grant leave to withdraw.
Motion granted leave to withdraw has been made and seconded. On the motion, Council seat 6, Council Pereira.
I had put in this resolution, it was given leave to withdraw because at the last Finance Committee meeting, we talked about the panhandlers, and we also talked about this. But I think that giving it leave to withdraw, perhaps we should amend it to request that the administration report to the council on what strategies have been made regarding homeless encampments.
So are you saying we don't give leave to withdraw, we amend it instead?
Right, I would just amend it, that the administration let the council know what steps they're taking regarding the homeless encampments and the effect that they're having on our residents and businesses alike.
All right, that's in the form of a motion. Is there a second on the
I
motion?
would second that.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. On the amendment, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On adoption as amended, Council seat 2.
Yeah, I just want to comment that the comments that my colleague made earlier, I agree with her sentiment. You know, when people start infringing upon other people's rights, when people start affecting the quality of life of you know, law-abiding citizens and people who have worked hard to have their properties and do the right things, there's definitely, you have to get to the point where you put your foot down and say something has to be done. It just can't go on forever. And, I mean, it keeps snowballing and snowballing and snowballing, and, something has to be done. We have to take some action, find a way to take action. Well, with that, I yield.
Thank you, Councilor. Motion has been amended.
Mr. President, if I may, the resolution itself asks that the committee convene with the administration to discuss strategies and funding being utilized to decrease homelessness and homeless encampments within the city. So in essence, it's doing what you're asking for, so perhaps the resolution should just be referred to the mayor.
That's
So that
fine
we
if you
can get that
feel that
report.
that's fine.
Okay.
So the new motion would be to refer the resolution.
That resolution to the mayor's office.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk?
We have a proposed ordinance, miscellaneous traffic ordinance for second reading and enrollment.
Motion so made.
Second.
Motion to pass for second reading and enrollment has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I have a proposed ordinance that relates to the registered and certified mail notification requirements for passage through second reading and enrollment.
Motion so made.
Motion
Second.
to pass for second reading and enrollment has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And item 9 is the thin film plastic bags proposed ordinance for passage through second reading and enrollment.
So moved.
Motion to pass the second reading and enrollment has been made. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, on the motion, Council seat 6, Council Vice President Pereira.
I just have a concern about this. I have received calls from citizens who explained that they were seniors and they use these bags for varied things. And also with Mr. Sylvia's comments this evening, I think there's more to look at on this. It's gone to the ordinance committee and it's in second reading. I would just ask for a roll call. I personally would like to get a little more information on it, because I've reached out to other communities to see what problems they were having. I won't be supporting this, but, I mean, there's been a motion on the floor to adopt, and there was a second, so I would just request a roll call vote.
You yield, Councilor?
I yield.
Thank you. Council seat 8, Council Washington.
Yeah, I have to second that, because since that ordinance meeting that I was in, there's just been emails, conflicting emails of, is it good for the environment, is it not good for the environment? And I just can't I don't think that, me personally, have enough information to vote on this, so I couldn't support it at this moment, so I'd like a roll call too. I yield, Council President, thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council seat 1, Council Kadim.
I respect everybody's opinion. I just want to say for the record that this is over 3 years' worth of time. Members were at the table, they asked questions, we went back and forth, there were no more questions. The only question that was left after discussion was had about this ordinance was the enforcement portion of that. That's why it was tabled, then it was tabled for, I don't know, close to a year again. We brought it back to the table, and we were told by Corporation Counsel that we did not need to have a specific department for enforcement. So I'm not sure what sending it back to ordinance committee is going to do, because we're going to have the same exact information.
Yeah,
So if we
the
don't
motion is
want to
send it back.
support
The
it,
motion is for roll call.
then I recognize that, but I think if we're not looking to support it, then let's just kill it. I don't suggest that we bring it back to ordinance to have the same conversations that we had for the last 3 years, to then just come back before us. That's the only thing I'm stating. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Councilor. Council seat 6,
I
Council
agree
Pereira.
with my colleague in seat number 1. We had discussed it before, and it was that along with the balloon ordinance, and that fell apart, because there's no way to enforce it. So why are we putting ordinances on the books that we cannot enforce? And I agree that there's been time to look at this, but over that year's span or 2 year span, a lot of other information has come up. So I'm not saying to send it back to ordinance. I just think take a vote on it,
Right,
and if
it's
it's gonna
understood.
fly, it flies. If it doesn't, we'll kill it. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Council, do you have your hand up? Council seat 7, Council Prozo.
Yeah, my vote is gonna stay consistent from the ordinance subcommittee. I voted no on it. I see some inconsistencies between some of the language at the state level versus this, so I'm gonna stick with my no vote for the time being until, we can proceed forward, but that's where I'm gonna stand. I yield.
Thank you, Councilor. Motion
The motion on the floor is to approve, Mr. President, and there was a second?
is to adopt, I believe, and
To adopt
yes,
with a
correct.
second. Okay,
Correct.
so there's a roll call?
Correct. Madam Clerk, roll call.
This would be for passage through second reading and enrollment. Councilors Kadim?
Yes.
Dion?
No,
Kilby?
Yes?
La Liberty? Pelletier? Pereira?
No.
Reposo?
No.
Washington?
No.
President Kamara?
Yes.
The motion fails.
Madam Clerk?
Whereas the city has frequently experienced devastating flooding related to heavy rain, poor drainage systems, and general geography, and whereas funding to remedy this issue has exceeded $6 million, and whereas shrubs have been planted in high flood risk areas such as the street median on Middle Street to help retain soil and prevent more flood damage, but have not received regular maintenance, are significantly overgrown and an eyesore. And whereas these plants negatively affect the landscaping of Kennedy Park, which attracts hundreds of visitors who use the baseball fields, basketball courts, softball field, pickleball court, and playground. And whereas Fall River's municipal code in section 26-40 requires property owners to control the growth of any wild plants or the existence of any obstruction so as not to interfere with the general view of the people. Now therefore be it resolved that the administration and any related departments address this shrub overgrowth to ensure the city is maintaining its own property with the same requirements that are expected of all property owners, and to help improve the quality of life and cityscape of Kennedy Park.
Entertain a motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. On the motion, Council seat six, Council Pereira.
I did speak to Councilor Pelletier about this, who filed this resolution, because we had gotten a number of calls. If you drive past St. Anne's Hospital and you're going from South Main down to Broadway, that island in the middle has weeds that are taller than me. And we have called different individuals to make sure that that's cut, and it hasn't been cut. Another one is the beautiful plaque stonework that's at the Heritage State, at the Veterans Memorial Park, again. And now I see all flags on Eastern Avenue Meridian, and I see a bunch of trees that are at the cemetery department there on Bullock Street. They're gonna be planting all of those. It's great to plant trees. Where is the manpower to take care of these trees after? That kind of scares me. I mean, we're beautifying the city by doing that, that's wonderful. We have one arborist, how many people do we have in the tree department? 2? Just, I think the administration needs to look at that and see what we can do, but I'd support this resolution. With that, I yield, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Motion to adopt has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have the police chief's report.
Motion to adopt.
Motion
Second.
to adopt police chief's report has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have applications for renewal of auto repair shop licenses on behalf of Michael Kamara at 1148 Duval Street and Jewel Saeed at 714 Globe Street.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to, second.
Motion to adopt has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 14 is a request for the transfer of an auto repair shop license located at 127 Eastern Avenue from Ziad El Khoury to Antonio Garcia.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We have a number of claims.
Motion to refer to Corporation Council.
Motion for the Claims
Second.
Corporation Council has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We have a communication from the Commander of the Disabled American Veterans regarding the Disabled American Veterans William S. Green, Chapter 9, withdrawing from the Fall River War Veterans Council.
Motion to accept and place on file?
Second.
Motion to accept and place on file has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 17 is a communication from Pauline Lewis regarding Municipal Government Improvement Project and Community Utilities Water Replacement Project.
Motion will be to accept and place on file.
Second.
Has been made and seconded. On the motion, Council seat six, Council
I
Pereira.
agree with accepting and placing on file, but also that here's a woman that's writing and saying that the work on President Avenue that they have done, that she's witnessed diligency of the workers on that street in 90-degree weather, et cetera, that they do get notices. So you had one person complaining about the way things were done, and we have one person that's writing and saying that in her, wherever she lives, her section, that she's grateful to the work that's being done. So I just think we give all views, and this is a positive, so just to share it.
Maybe they're not going
With
to
the
her house at
community.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Pardon?
Maybe they're not going to her house and smashing up the concrete at 4 o'clock
Maybe
in the
not.
morning.
So, well, she lives on President
Interesting.
Avenue as well,
I know she does. She said-
so might be
Maybe we'll
different
have to invite her
spots,
to the
but
meeting. Motion to adopt has been made, motion to accept and place on file has been made and seconded. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have the city engineers request to open a street less than 5 years old on Purchase Street between Bedford and Granite.
Motion to approve.
Motion to adopt, approve has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have a request for a structure on a public way on behalf of the Tomeo Center.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to approve has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have the planning board minutes of August 9th.
Motion to accept and place on
Motion to
file.
accept and place on file the planning
Second.
board minutes of August 9th has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to take 21, 23 together.
Second.
21, 22, 23.
Item number
21,
21,
22,
22, and 23 has
Thank
been
you.
made and
Second.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, could you read items 21, 22, and 23?
Sure. These would be minutes of the City Council public hearings, Committee on Finance, and regular meeting, all held on September 12th.
Motion to approve.
Motion to
A
approve?
motion to approve
Second.
the minutes as made
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
A communication from Mass DEP. This is a notice of a new regulatory reporting requirement relating to medium and heavy-duty vehicles that are operated and dispatched in Massachusetts.
Motion to accept and place on file.
Second.
Motion accepted and placed on file has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The Committee on Finance, at a meeting held on September 26th, voted unanimously to recommend the attached loan order be referred to the full council for action, with Councilors La Liberty and Pelletier absent and not voting. This is the loan order in the amount of $8,101,636 for the Robert Maderas Resiliency Prep Academy renovation project.
Motion to adopt the loan order
Second.
has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The Committee on Finance, at a meeting held on September 26th, voted unanimously to recommend that the attached order be referred to the full council for action, with Councilors La Liberty and Pelletier absent and not voting. This is the Bank Street Armory proposal review and recommendation.
Motion to adopt the proposal?
Second.
Motion to adopt the proposal has been made and seconded. On the motion, roll call.
Roll.
On the motion to adopt the loan order, Councilors Kadim,
Yes.
Dion,
Yes.
Kilby,
Yes.
La Liberty, Pelletier, Pereira,
No.
Reposo,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
and President Kamara.
No. Motion carries. Council will take a 2-minute recess. City Council reconvene.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the vote on the Bank Street Armory. When we heard loan order, we thought we were on the school, didn't realize it was the Armory. I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the vote.
Second.
Motion to reconsider has been made and seconded.
Hey, can I,
On the motion, you can speak, Councilor.
you know,
Seat
I
six,
know
Clerk.
that this is a tough decision, because if we give away the armory or sell the armory, whatever, I shouldn't say give away, there'll be more houses built. that's fine, more apartments and that we're building all over the city. But if they have children, we're paying for those children to be in school, which really kind of negates. This is, when they did the other building, every time somebody comes in and does something, they get money from the city too. I don't know if they got over $1 million the last project or what have you. And I think it's good that the city chips in. But this is the last piece of history that this city has. And you're just gonna let it be sold? I'm not saying you have to fix it in a year, but over the span of time, start fixing it up. The veterans have their home to go back to. You can have events there. We have a city event planner. Let her be housed there, not in City Hall. You have tourism. You spent over $1 million in ARPA money to give to people to do tourism. Put them down there. You know, do something there. Have events there. They can do it in other communities, and we can't do it here. Mr. Brandt was in front of us 2 weeks ago, said CPA, they had about $5 million they could give, but they met with the mayor to see what his proposal was. He didn't give him a proposal. Come to the council, I'll give him a proposal of what we can do there, to have events, have a place for kids to go. How do you say in Fall River you care about kids, but we can't save this one building? Sure, they can go to schools and this and that, but they're not gonna do that. This is one central hub that did a lot of things, and you can rent that space out. You can have boxing matches, basketball games. There's so much you can do. Get these kids off the street. Get them doing something. Get them feeling a part of that building. But why do we sell every piece of history we have? What do we have in the city? We don't have the Driffy Theater, that's gone. We don't have the old City Hall, that's gone, right? We don't have the Mellon Hotel. Everything gets knocked down for highways, for this, for that. I don't know. I mean, I don't push my colleagues to vote any way that they want to vote, but I've heard from a lot of people that want to keep this. And I'm not saying you have to fix it right away, but it's been like that for years, and nobody's done anything. And they did spend a whole bunch of money fixing the roof and doing some repairs. So now, beautiful hardwood floors are being destroyed, and we're using it for storage. That's just my opinion, and I will gladly accept Counselor in seat number 2's request for reconsideration. With that, I yield.
There you go, Counselor seat 2.
Yeah, and then the other part of my argument has been that $390,932 of taxpayer dollars have gone into this building, and we're not even recuperating it. I asked about whether there would be reimbursement. It was said that unless it's 5 years or less since a loan, they don't normally get reimbursed. However, $50,000 was put into urgent masonry repairs and removal of vegetation in 2021. That's only 2 years ago. I haven't heard any mention that $50,000 is going back to the CPA, which at the least it should be, where it was only 2 years ago. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Counselor.
Roll
Motion
call.
considered has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call on the reconsideration.
Roll call on reconsideration.
On the motion to reconsider, Councilors Kennedy?
Yes.
Dion?
Yes.
Kilby?
This is on reconsider?
Yes.
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 La Liberty? Pelletier? Pereira?
Yes.
Reposo?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
President Kamara?
Yes.
And is there a motion?
Entertain a motion.
For the Bank Street Armory.
Second.
Motion to adopt has been made and seconded. On the motion, roll call.
On the motion to adopt the order for the Bank Street Armory proposal, review, and recommendation. Councilors Kadim?
Yes.
Dion?
No.
Kilby?
Yes.
La Liberty? Pelletier? Pereira?
No.
Reposo?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
And President Kamara?
No. Motion still carries.
That's it.
And lastly, we have the miscellaneous traffic ordinance for passage through final ordination.
Motion so made.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the proposed ordinance for passage through final ordination, this is the ordinance that relates to the notification by registered and certified mail.
Motion so made.
Second.
Motion passed to be ordained has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last one?
Yes.
Motion adjourned?
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.